Before we begin, please subscribe to support the channel. I always thought dating apps like Tinder were a bit strange. The idea of meeting up with a complete stranger just felt off to me. But after my ex-boyfriend ran off with someone else, I was heartbroken, crying every day. My best friend Megan, bless her heart, kept telling me, "Casey, you need to move on. You need to start living your life again." Yeah. So one Friday night after a couple of drinks, I did something I never thought I'd do. I downloaded Tinder. After a couple of drinks, feeling a bit tipsy and curious, I started swiping through the endless profiles. Most of the guys were just not interesting, posing for selfies or flexing their muscles. Nothing really stood out. But then I saw Jack. His profile was different. The picture showed him standing in a forest on the outskirts of LA, half turned towards the camera with a mysterious smile on his face. He had this vibe that was hard to ignore. His bio was short and simple. Outdoor enthusiast, love exploring, looking for a like-minded partner. Without thinking much, I swiped right, and to my surprise, we matched instantly. I was a bit shocked, but also excited. Maybe adventure and an unusual date were exactly what I needed. Jack quickly sent me a message to start a conversation. "Hey, Casey, judging from your pictures, you look like someone who loves the outdoors too, right?" We started chatting. Jack was funny, and he seemed to know everything about the area around LA. He even suggested a few hiking trails and mentioned that he went exploring every weekend. "Actually, I'm planning to do a night city exploration this weekend," he said. "Interested in joining? I think it could be fun." I frowned. This didn't sound like a typical first date. It honestly seemed a bit strange. Who invites someone on a night exploration on the first date? But Jack was so enthusiastic. He sounded genuine, like a real outdoor guy, and maybe I just didn't understand night explorations. Plus, he mentioned there would be other people joining, and he even showed me their profiles. It made me feel a bit safer. So, after a lot of hesitation, I decided to go. On the night we planned, I put on some comfy jeans and sneakers and drove to the address Jack had sent me, an old warehouse on the eastern outskirts of LA. Honestly, as I got there, my heart started pounding. The place was completely deserted, with no one else around. It was an abandoned industrial area, and the warehouse looked dark and unwelcoming. Jack was standing outside, and when he saw me, he gave me a big smile. He looked even better in person. Tall, handsome, wearing a simple gray hoodie and jeans, his messy brown hair adding to his charm. "Hey, Casey, you made it! I'm so glad you're here." He walked up and gave me a friendly hug. I was a bit stiff, but smiled back at him. Looking around, I didn't see anyone else, which made me feel uneasy. "Where are the others? You said there would be a lot of people," I asked. Jack shrugged, still smiling. "Oh, they had to cancel last minute, but don't worry, I can still show you around. The city at night has a lot of stories to tell." The uneasiness in my gut grew stronger, but Jack seemed so genuine and friendly, I didn't want to come off as scared, so I nodded, trying to hide my hesitation. Jack led me into the warehouse. Inside, it resembled an old office building. There was a big empty hall and a set of broken stairs. It was dead silent except for the sound of our footsteps echoing off the concrete. Jack walked ahead, telling me about the history of the place. He said it used to be a textile factory, but it was abandoned after a big fire. He even claimed that people had seen ghosts wandering around here. I shivered, not sure if he was trying to scare me or just being dramatic. I didn't entirely believe him, but the stories were definitely creepy. We went up to the second floor, and the hallway was narrow and dark, with only a bit of moonlight shining through the broken windows. Suddenly, I smelled something weird, a rotten, musty smell that made me gag. "What's that smell?" I wrinkled my nose and stopped walking. Jack stopped too, turning to look at me with his usual smile. "Oh, probably just some rats. Places like this are always a bit dirty. Don't worry, keep going. I promise there's something really cool up ahead." His smile was still charming, but I started regretting coming here. My instincts were screaming at me to leave. Jack's demeanor suddenly changed, and he grabbed my wrist. His hand was cold and strong, nothing like the gentle guy he seemed before. I think I should go, Jack," I said, trying to stay calm, trying to pull my hand away. But his smile disappeared, replaced by something twisted and terrifying. His eyes grew dark and dangerous, like he had suddenly become someone else. "Don't you want to see the surprise I prepared for you?" he said in a low voice, filled with a kind of suppressed madness. I yanked my hand back, finally breaking free, and turned to run down the stairs. Jack was right behind me, his footsteps echoing heavily in the empty hallway. I ran as fast as I could, practically jumping down the stairs, but just as I was about to reach the first floor, I tripped over a piece of broken flooring and fell hard. Pain shot through my knee, but I couldn't stop. As I struggled to get up, I saw something that made my blood run cold. In the corner under the stairs, there was a metal barrel, and inside, I could see bones, even a skull. My heart felt like it was going to explode out of my chest. I knew I had to get out of there, or I was done for. As Jack got closer, I spotted a metal rod on the ground. Driven by sheer panic, I grabbed it and swung as hard as I could. I heard it connect with his body, and he let out a pained yell, falling to the ground. I didn't stop to see how badly he was hurt. I ran out of the warehouse, not stopping until I made it to the street. By then I was crying, my hands shaking uncontrollably. I pulled out my phone and called 911. When the police arrived, I stood across the street, watching as they stormed into the warehouse. I saw them drag Jack out. His face was no longer charming, just hollow and cold. A few days later, I saw the news about Jack on TV. He wasn't just dangerous, he was a monster, a serial killer. He had set up a hunting room in that warehouse, targeting girls he met on dating apps. I was the only one who got away, but the story didn't end there. A few days later, when I was finally starting to feel a bit normal, trying to get my life back, I got a text from an unknown number. It was a photo, a picture of me running out of the warehouse. Underneath, it said, "The adventure is just beginning, Casey. We'll meet again." My heart sank and fear washed over me all over again. I didn't know how he got that photo or if he had an accomplice. But I knew that night, the shadow I saw in the mist might never truly disappear.